What's up everyone, another day, another slay, and I hope yours is going okay, because the early access period for Hogwarts Legacy is out right now. Probably by the time I get this video out, the full game will be out, and the game looks, well, honestly, I don't even know. I have been so busy the last couple of days, it's not even funny. I'm gonna put it right up front. I don't know what the hell is going on with this game, how it plays, or what the gameplay is like, because really, all that stuff has been overshadowed immensely by the controversy surrounding this game. I know more about the controversy surrounding the game than I do the actual game. Now, I talked a little bit about it in a short a couple days ago with the whole have they played that wizard game site basically being made to harass people who stream the game, but I guess I can go a little more in depth in it with an actual video. I need money and shorts don't pay me shit, so here we are. I don't really think there's much that needs to be said about the controversy, to be honest. Basically, I think everybody should just mind their own damn business on both sides, practice my favorite quote from Spider-Man,
missed the part where that's my problem,
and shut their damn mouths. If you don't want to buy the game, cool. If you do want to buy the game, also cool. If you want to get mad at the people who want to buy the game simply for buying it, you're embarrassing yourself. And if you want to buy 10 copies of the game just to dunk on those trans people, you also are embarrassing yourself. Shouldn't be that hard of a concept to understand. J.K. Rowling is not a good person and not worth your support whatsoever, but forcing people to boycott the game is not going to put a dent in her wallet. And thankfully, most of the reviews have decided to take this mentality to heart, and it clearly shows from the reviews. IGN of all sites even put out a statement of how they're separating the artist from the art and judging the game on its own. And apparently, it's pretty good. I've gotten a couple of friends who played it already, and they're saying it's really good. It's been getting high scores on Metacritic, and from the very brief things I've heard about this game before making this video, it sounds interesting. I might get it despite the fact that I have never been a Harry Potter fan, but since the game has been judged on its own merits the last couple of days, some people have been very vocally upset about this. Those being the SJWs. I'm not even using that term derogatorily this time, guys. I genuinely just don't know what else to call them. But yeah, I found this article titled Hogwarts Legacy Does Not Deserve to be Reviewed on Its Own Merits. And as you can tell by that title, this is going to be a very entertaining article because someone involved, wait, no, involved isn't even a good way to describe it, because saying involved is to imply they had something to do with the actual making of the game. No, surrounding is a better word. If someone surrounding the game, I guess, isn't a good person, this game should not be reviewed fairly. Not even because the developers did something wrong or anything like that. Which even still, you should always separate the art from the artist, but that's for another day. No. Just someone surrounding the game. Jesus, this discussion is so damn stupid. Enough talking and let's see what GameSub has shed out today.
Whether or not we want to admit it, it is impossible to talk positively about Hogwarts Legacy without harming a community of human beings.
Hogwarts Legacy has almost nothing to do with J.K. Rowling aside from it being in the universe she created and her getting a royalty fee for licensing the game to people, which she was always going to get for the game being made. The only people affected by this are the developers who put their blood, sweat, and tears into making the game as good as people have been saying it is. Saying the game is worth buying is not that big of a deal. I 100% get the people who would get mad at the people who were like directly donating to J.K. Rowling, but that's not even close to what's happening here.
To judge a creation purely on its own merits is often lauded as fair and a positive method of review. Why should a bad game be praised just because it comes normally from a brilliant creator? Why should a good one be vilified just because the mind that inspired it is ignorant and hateful? If something is good, we should be able to enjoy and endorse it, even if we acknowledge the faults of its progenitor. Perhaps even more so when that creation takes steps to distance itself from those now tainted roots and offers support to the people who were wrong. An objective stance would be only fair, don't you think? I bet it would feel nice to be fair, to judge Hogwarts Legacy by its merits alone, to look at the strides the developers have made to offer inclusivity and to distance themselves from hatred, to acknowledge that they aren't to blame and just to enjoy a franchise that once held such important meaning to me. It would be easier to be fair, believe me, to turn away from the discourse, ignore the context and consequence, and just explore something that I used to love. What a privilege to spend a few dollars and play a game in one of the formative worlds of my childhood, choosing not to think about where that money goes. I want to make it clear to you right now that as a transgender individual, I have no interest in that kind of fairness or objectivity when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy. I feel a moral imperative to oppose Hogwarts Legacy.
And that is 100% fine to do. If you don't think the game is worth supporting because it harms the trans community so much, I completely get that. However, mind your own shit. I don't want to hear a whole moral argument of why I can't support Hogwarts Legacy and how buying the game is going to cause a transphobe to become rich. Because honestly, I don't care. I just don't. I don't know how else to put it. It's not my problem. And I know that's selfish, but I don't know. I don't see these motherfuckers coming out to help me with every tiny little L I take. So why should I do that for them? Maybe that makes me a bad person. Maybe it doesn't. Honestly, I don't care. People are doing what benefits themselves, and right now they feel like playing the game. See, this person, Percy Ranson or whatever the fuck their name is only advocating for this mentality because someone surrounding the game does not support their political ideology. And I 100% agree with the political ideology that they're describing. But hypothetically, if this were to happen, game got review bombed by every critic because J.K. Rowling was surrounding the game. Where the hell would this end? Where would you draw the line and judge something objectively? Oh, well, this game's like a broken piece of shit, but you know, the developer used the money earned from the game's sales to support the Trevor Project. Or, on the other side, the game's great and all, but some random person on the development team is a great nephew of Hitler, even though they want nothing to do with him and hate his guts, or something like that. Do either of those situations make any sense to you? Because that is the exact same situation as this.
Hogwarts Legacy cannot and should not be judged solely on its own merits, because the end result of supporting this game financially and socially isn't a matter of how much you'll enjoy it or how nostalgic it might be to experience the world of Harry Potter. If you purchase the game, if you praise its qualities and encourage others to support the developers or treat yourself to a guilty pleasure, you are making a choice that will harm the transgender community, whether you want to admit it or not.
I guess that's fair. Buying the game leads back to J.K. Rowling and it gives her money, but boycotting it and forcing everyone you know to boycott it will not make a difference. The bitch has a Halo energy shield around her. She is a multi-millionaire, the owner of probably the biggest book franchise ever made. Even if you didn't buy the game, right? I mean, I'd hope you'd
keep that same energy
towards everything else surrounding Harry Potter. So HBO Max, that has the Harry Potter movies on it, you gotta cancel that subscription. You might as well boycott every Warner Bros property since Warner Bros owns the Wizarding World IP, and that goes back to J.K. Rowling. Actually, you have to boycott Nintendo too, because Universal is making that Nintendo theme park. And what does Universal also have? The Harry Potter section, which goes back to J.K. Rowling. But we look on your previous articles, we see a couple talking about the Fire Emblem games and even praising the writing on them and how it's good for fan fiction? I'm not even gonna go there. But what is Fire Emblem made by? Nintendo. And what is Nintendo supporting? Universal. And what is Universal supporting? Harry Potter. And it all leads back to J.K. Rowling. Do you see what I mean? Harry Potter is too big of a franchise to simply just avoid supporting. Because to avoid giving shitty people money in the world, it's like walking through a minefield. This whole idea of you can't buy Harry Potter products or else you're a transphobe is the same fucking ideology as that crazy vegan anorexic bitch on TikTok.
3, 2, 1, sing! Eating animals is wrong, McDonald's. Hurting animals is wrong, McDonald's. Share this song and change your entire menu to be vegan from now on.
that is dumb as fuck.
Don't get me wrong, again, if you yourself are boycotting Hogwarts Legacy because you don't want to support J.K. Rowling, I get that, absolutely respect it. Don't know how many times I have to say it, but that's just how I see it and why I think for myself, personally, boycotting the game is pointless.
This statement might seem like quite a stretch at your first glance, but for the sake of clarity, let's break it down. If you buy Hogwarts Legacy, you are doing 3 significant things. You're directly supporting the royalty checks J.K. Rowling will receive for the use of the Harry Potter IP.
Yes, and J.K. Rowling is going to get those either way, not to mention her being rich, so those royalty checks don't even matter at all. And if they just randomly stopped coming one day, it wouldn't even make a dent in her income from how big the Harry Potter books alone sell.
You're financially signaling to the wider market that the Harry Potter IP is a profitable space, likely worth investing with future titles. The more profitable the IP, the more money Rowling makes.
My non-gender specific guy, we do not need to buy this game to signal to the wider market that Harry Potter is profitable. They have known this the last 30 years. They would not be making this game if Harry Potter wasn't profitable. Please, just stop talking. Every word you've said has continuously gotten dumber as the sentences go on.
You're socially engaging with the IP and potentially broadening its audience, encouraging others to engage with it as well. This inevitably leads to more people being exposed to Rowling's hateful beliefs and potentially adopting it themselves.
People are always going to have those hateful beliefs. Plus, you guys are just going to cancel them like you did with J.K. Rowling, so why would it even matter if people had those beliefs? That's another thing I wanted to mention. I know the whole situation happened years ago at this point, but canceling J.K. Rowling was probably not the right decision for that situation. Granted, it's the internet and I wasn't expecting anything less to happen, but a better alternative would be to explain why her take is bad, because it's very clear she doesn't understand the perspective of a trans person, and to show her how she's wrong. Canceling her is just gonna give her more ammo against the trans community and fuel other people who support this ideology to go out there and support her. And granted, I make fun of a lot of people on my channel and don't really try to get people on my side, but like, I do this shit for the money. People don't get money from canceling people. Also, wouldn't most people see how badly J.K. Rowling got treated after she said those things and learn that those mentalities are not socially acceptable?
Games Hub has already detailed a small example of the extensive transphobic rhetoric that Rowling spreads to her audience, as well as the comfort and support she draws from the royalties occurred by the use of the Harry Potter IP. It is a fact that she leverages her wealth and platform to support transphobic legislation, and that hate groups use her name to muster support for openly transphobic movements. I don't need to prove that she's a trans exclusionary radical feminist. She has openly identified with the label. Buying Hogwarts Legacy gives Rowling financial support and risks broadening her audience. These actions are both harmful towards the transgender community. Economic influence is very real and growing ever more overt in the video game industry. Think of how many microtransactions we're seeing stuffed into games with no need for them. How many companies attempted to make NFTs only thwarted by massive outcry and the financial refusal from customers. The money you spend has an impact. Your actions have consequences. You provide support that harms the transgender community.
Yeah, and this is the same discussion with microtransactions and NFTs too. People need to mind their own business. I'm not saying you shouldn't bitch about it, but there are certain people you should be bitching at. Those being the people actually like involved with the project. If you don't like something, bitch to the people making it all you want. Perfectly fine. Now, your bitching might just be straight up wrong, but hey, that's where I come in. But don't be bitching at the people who indirectly supporting these things because they have nothing to do with it. Like, I'll admit, the people who bitch about people buying microtransactions and NFTs because it's morally wrong, but also want to support Hogwarts Legacy are absolute hypocrites. But I have never once given a shit about people buying NFTs or microtransactions. You want to waste your money? Cool, not my problem. It's your damn money. If people don't want to support something, they won't support it and the product will fail. If they do, it'll succeed. Bitching at the people indirectly supporting these things is not going to change anything. You're literally just harassing people for no reason.
I did play the review copy of Hogwarts Legacy I received.
So, you're a hypocrite. Because even playing the game supports it. Because let me give you a heads up. When you play the game on your PlayStation or Xbox or launcher on your PC, that's a number that those corporations keep. And that number will show the developers, wow, this game had a lot of people play it. The only way to not support this game and play it is to pirate it. Which honestly, be my guest if you wanted to. I don't give a shit about a corporation, but this shit is just rules for thee, but not for me at its finest.
What I found was a competently made semi-open world action RPG with a fairly linear storyline, basic character progression with very limited build expression or variety, and a combat model that was absolutely functional, but ultimately felt one note and grew swiftly repetitive. I experienced no major bugs, but nor did I find much to make it stand out in the plethora of action RPGs available. If you choose not to buy Hogwarts Legacy, you won't be missing out on any huge gameplay innovations or a new paragon of the action RPG genre. It's very clear while playing that the Harry Potter IP is the star of the show, and every gameplay decision has been made to facilitate and showcase the IP to its fullest.
Yeah, but if you choose not to buy it, when if it weren't for J.K. Rowling, you would buy it, you're missing out on a game that you actually do want to play, which isn't really worth it to me when you're looking at the full picture of how much buying this game changes the outcome of everything. I know, Josh, you choose a video game over human rights. No, it's just me buying a game alone is not going to make transgender people's rights disappear.
I remember when the Harry Potter fandom was a sanctuary for LGBT kids who felt isolated like outsiders. There was a beautiful idea I've read once about the stairs of Hogwarts, specifically the girls' dormitory stairs, that would allow girls to climb up but not boys and vice versa. A closeted trans girl, lonely and desperately craving validation, would attempt to enter her assigned dreaded dorm, only for the stairs to deny her because the stairs knew her gender wasn't what the world said it was. Magic, pure and objective without bias or prejudice, knew their identity just as the child did themselves. The gendered staircase has a lot of problematic elements that could be unpacked, the binary nature, etc., but magic as a force of validation, beautiful. Of course, that's not the truth of the Harry Potter IP. Rowling has made it very clear that a trans girl would find no validation in her world, no love or support. The more I played Hogwarts Legacy, and the longer I spent in the classrooms and grounds of Hogwarts, the sadder I felt at how tainted the franchise has become. The sanctuary is gone. It no longer exists for us.
You know what? That was actually a really good idea. I don't know, the last part of this article is actually kind of solid, and I can see the makings of an actually talented writer. Like, if this whole article was about how horrible of a person J.K. Rowling is for taking that sanctuary away from the LGBT community, it would be fucking great. Like, I genuinely got chills my first time reading through that first paragraph right there.
Does buying Hogwarts Legacy make you a transphobe?
No, at worst, it makes you slightly ignorant to the problems of trans people, but like, people are ignorant to each other's problems all the time, so really what the hell is wrong with that?
Is Is one bad action enough to make you a bad person? After all, one bucket of sand doesn't make a beach, and one tree doesn't make a forest. But if you buy this game, you're making a choice. You're choosing to support J.K. Rowling, even if just in a small way.
Small is an overstatement. It is in a minuscule, nearly inconsequential way.
And if you knowingly weigh the cost and decide that your personal enjoyment of a video game is worth supporting a trans-exclusionary radical feminist, that indulging your nostalgia is more valuable than supporting the transgender community, well, one tree might not make a forest, but it sure is more than none.
Yeah, well, the people who want to support this game are going to support it, and the people who don't want to support it aren't going to. It's that simple. Don't try to make people look like bad people for wanting to play a video game, because it's really not that deep. Again, this is why people are homophobic and why we get so many people saying they hate the LGBTQ community. Because of the vocal minority like this that tries to say people are shitty people for doing essentially nothing. It's genuinely pathetic and why I never like to associate myself with these people. But whatever, there's always going to be crazy far left people like this, just like there's always going to be crazy far right people saying stupid shit. And there's always going to be people like me to talk shit and make money from it. So yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, buy it if you want to, as with anything else. But saying objectively reviewing the game is a bad thing, or the people buying the game are bad people, is just so fucking stupid. It shouldn't even need to be said, but here we are. So yeah, I'm done. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, join my Discord, follow my Twitter, and I hope you all have a great day.
What are you going to do?